That's fair. Yeah. Just keep on talking until something makes sense. That's fair.
That's kind of my motto. Just hope the things that I say have meaning to them, even though they're words and they're gone in like 5 seconds. Well, not anymore, actually, because they're right there.
Yeah, exactly. We have a digital recording of it all. Yeah.
See the waveform.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Second Year Run podcast. I am your host, Wyatt Mason, and today I have a very special guest with me. A guest I've been waiting 3 weeks to bring on. Her name is Tvisha J. Welcome, Tvisha.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I say that Tvisha is a special guest if only because last year we didn't really share any classes besides maybe one where like the whole kind of program was together in the same room, and yet somehow we've become quite good friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, without ever working on any real projects or having any group assignments or anything like that, we've somehow just become friends, and I just think that's kind of fun.
No, I completely agree with you too, because I think our friendship really just started with me specifically, finding you in like the lounge or the PO and being like, Wyatt, I want to ask you 3 billion questions right now.
And of course, I was more than happy to answer them, as usual, as to be expected.
Yeah.
But what was
you have
your
a podcast.
opinion on just the kind of the first year, as I've been asking all of my guests? How did you feel? Because both Ethan and Addie were also in my set from last year, so that kind of experience, I saw them and knew what they were working on and the struggles that we faced. But in your opinion, how did you feel about our first year of the program?
Honestly, wow, I don't actually know how to sum up that into words. The first year, it feels honestly like 3 years ago, in my opinion, so sometimes I can't even remember it, but my initial reaction when I stepped on to Studio One, that first orientation, was just excitement. I knew people from the previous year that had graduated, so, I kind of knew what I was getting myself into. And the excitement kind of just built from there, I had my ups and my downs, but, it was fun.
We did so much. We did live shows, we did commercials, we did faculty instructional videos. There was a lot that we covered within that first year. So I guess the question isn't so much what you enjoyed most from the last year, but I guess what are you looking forward to this year to working on?
The thing I'm excited for the most is all of the live. I am a very big live person. I want to go into broadcast. I've always known I've wanted to go to broadcast. I think a lot of the first years last year, or a lot of us wanted to kind of do on-set stuff, and I think as all of us have slowly gone into industry, I think a lot of us are slowly transitioning to live, which actually really warms my heart because I love it so much. I think I'm not going to say it's better than on-set stuff, but for me personally, there's definitely a tier list in my mind, and live is first and on-set is second.
How much of, because you mentioned to me, I remember in the last year that in high school during the theater program, I think it's where maybe you first had your kind of involvement in some kind of a live sphere and also lighting in that way too, that you mentioned that like the lighting board we have in one of our studios is the exact same one you have in your high school. Is BCIT just a sort of an extension of that like what that kind of experience you went through in high school is kind of now carried over almost into like a full-time study thing? And now that you've gotten that experience...
That's a crazy good question. No, I will say it hasn't carried over. A lot of what theater, I went into this program thinking it would carry over, if I'm being honest.
I also really quickly want to say, too, that I also did, 3 years of... I'm a theater kid as well.
Yeah.
In high school, I really want to make this clear for anyone listening to the podcast. This is unfortunately a theater kid podcast.
Yeah.
So if you're not into that, it's too late. We're 3 episodes in. But sorry, continue.
No, I mean, maybe that's why we're honestly such good friends, is because we're both theater kids in our own respects. But yeah, no, I came into this program thinking it would carry over, and I was kind of hit in the face with live broadcast, on-set work, and theater. All 3 things you'd think are similar. No, not at all. Theater, you have one set. Like, you have one location, you have a couple of lights that don't really ever change, and if you want them to change, it's for a special reason, And because of that, like, I slowly kind of learned that when I came into this program, all of the lights change all of the time. Broadcasts, you don't really have any lights unless you're doing a festival or like a concert. Like like you'd have some lights for sports, but they're your floodlights. You set them up and you make sure they light the entire stage so everyone can see a little bit of everything, and then you kind of leave it alone. Unless it's like, again, a special event, like I bet Canucks does some really cool stuff with their color lights, but a regular game versus their 50th anniversary is gonna be different. And then, God, on set, I learned the hard way that while I think I understand being a DOP really well, I hate lighting. I hate lighting sets.
Okay.
Well, yeah, it's not my favorite. I don't like the idea that you have specific lights and those have to constantly move. I don't like, there's just too many things for my mind to fully like, oh, okay, well, the shadow was here in like the last shot, so now you gotta change it. And it can kind of fuck with my mind quite a bit. So yeah, no, it's so different, but that's why I think I love it. I love all three in different ways. I love on-set work because I love doing camera work. I didn't, in the first year, it was probably the thing I had the least experience with. And Gloria can genuinely attest to this, where I'd be like, I hate it. I hate it so much. I literally need a stool. Why am I on here? For anybody who can't see me and doesn't know me, which is the very few, I'm 4'11".
Yeah, so quickly, hop in there. Yeah,
Yeah,
Tvisha's on the shorter side of camera operators, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, yeah, and I thought I'd hate camera with live, but it's so fun because you realize sometimes being short, it works for you. Because, like, everybody doesn't want to do the crouch low angles, but
right, yeah.
Guess what? I don't have a problem with that because I'm probably already below the knees.
You can get those low angles up right at the stage.
No matter what, okay. I can like tilt up and get a full like ominous over the those can't remember what
like
I'm
Godzilla shots.
Exactly, basically it's just like crazy. Oh my god, it makes them look so intimidating and cool. Theater will always have a special place in my heart, though. I honestly wish I could do more theater things.
When you talk about lighting, you mentioned that like maybe set work you don't want to do too much of. You want to maybe go for more of like the live side, but even like with camera op, are you still kind of stepping away from like set specifics? You wanting to go more live, or like what motivates you to go for the live broadcast area of things as opposed to like set work? Is it beyond just the lighting, beyond maybe like locations or whatnot? Is that really it? Does it come down to that, or like is there something else that maybe wants you to go down the live way?
Yeah. It's the community. This entire program is a small town. Everyone knows everybody. If you cause a ruckus, if you cause a stir, we know about it. So yeah, I think in broadcast, if something goes wrong, everybody immediately, no matter what your position is, I guess that's it. Everybody in sets they're divided into a position. You are lighting. You are grips. You are sound. You are camera. In broadcast, realistically, it's a lot more lax because if something's fucked up and you know how to fix it. Go. This is all happening right now. We do not get another chance. If it is not fixed almost immediately, then fuck. And so, the idea that there isn't really a hierarchy. There's a hierarchy. Of course there is. And I'm sure there's a hierarchy when it comes to union broadcast stuff. But if you're doing a festival, you don't really have time for the hierarchy when something goes wrong. And everybody is so just there to make sure everybody has a good show. And it feels like theater in that way. It's exactly what I miss from theater. It's the community. It's the love and respect all of us put towards what we are making,
What motivates you on the creative side of things, beyond maybe like a set work? Like, are you feeling a creative inspiration when you try to go on like set, whether it be set or live or whatever, are you still coming at it from a creative motivation that like I have a vision that I want to enact, or is it maybe even like I want to go along with someone else's vision? I want them to be creative, and I want to see that creativity flow through. Is that what also motivates you to try and do set work stuff or like broadcast?
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I would say yes. I think specifically with camera work, I never realized, because again, in first year I hated it. I hated it so much. But after working with a camera over the summer and actually getting to like do some fun stuff, I kind of really learned that no matter what, you have a vision. And if someone essentially, because we all got comms going through our ears, we're kind of just all communicating with each other, and if the TD is like, hey, none of the shots look good, immediately I'm like, okay, wait, how do I get a better shot? And suddenly, so like I can feel the creativity part of my brain go, oh my god, wait, what if I do this? What if I do this? What if I do this? And live is so great because I get to choose from one of those options, and it either works or it doesn't work, and every single time it does work, it's this literal immediate blast of serotonin, dopamine, I don't know.
Yeah, one of the two.
Some
kind of chemical that exists.
Some kind of chemical that makes me very happy. It's just crazy. And even on live, when I'm doing camera work, I love it so much because specifically not actually camera operating, but focus pulling. It is a hard gig. Especially if it's a complex focus pull. But oh my god, I love it when I'm able to keep whatever I need to keep that is moving in focus, and everyone's like, man, this is a really hard shot, and I'm like, and I think I've developed a little bit of a knack for it too. But lighting is always just amazing and fun and great when I get to actually be creative with it. The problem with I think the biggest problem with broadcast and on set is there is not a lot of creativity when it comes to the specific lighting. On set stuff, absolutely. Like if you wanted to make something like it on like music videos, I'm assuming that shit's super creative. You gotta be super creative with the lighting for music videos. Mm-hmm. But and then it just comes back to the idea of, okay, how do I make sure everything's like how do I make sure the continuity is good? How do I make sure everything makes sense? Shadows still trip me up. God damn it. I think in a lot of the first term we were told kind of shadows aren't great, and now I'm starting to realize no, shadows are important. Shadows tell a story of their own. It's how important are those shadows, and why, and what story are they supposed to tell? Because you're always going to have shadows. They're important.
I want to talk about this week on the food section of the podcast, because yes, this is a segment. I've decided the show needs a segment, so this is going to be our segment. Today's food review that you can get on BCIT campus is I prefer... no, I don't think you do, because I prefer the NE1 little food court that's over there. I like that one. Overall, I'm just gonna come out and say it. They have a little burger shop joint over there. Get the burger from there. Don't go to the Fuse Cafe like I said in the first episode. I wasn't too impressed by the burger and fries there. Yeah. But the one that's over in the NE1 building. Okay. I don't know what they call that building. It's just NE1 as far as I'm concerned. I'm sure it's some kind of electrical engineering thing. But they got a little food court in there. Yeah. It's pretty good. I'd say it's like good. It's a good burger. If you don't want to get the triple O's, because that's understandable.
That's fair. It's
a good alternative, I will say. And I'll say, too, I think the fries are better than the triple O fries. Okay. So that's...
I won't disagree with that. Because I've had stuff there. I don't know if I've had the burgers there before. I'm a vegetarian. Or trying to be. I moved out. It's hard.
It's a complicated backstory.
There's a lot. I eat chicken now.
Too long for the podcast. I'm going to have to get into it.
No, but... The thing is, with anyone, and I actually won't disagree, I do think the food over there is so good. I think if you go to the right spot, I think, there's a little bit of a novelty to it. I don't know what it is, but I really like it. The problem is
It looks nice in there. I'll say it's just a nice atmosphere.
Mm-hmm. There's like another little cafe actually that I didn't know about. That's like, do you know when you like come in from the bus, and you're walking towards the little buildings over there? There's a little
like the health sciences building. Yeah. There's like there's a little weird coffee shop that's like right on the first floor there.
Yeah.
And it's only open until like 12 o'clock or something. 2
I know.
o'clock. Like. Yeah, like what the hell the point is? If it closes so early, it's like, dude, come on.
Yeah, exactly. No, but I've been there, and weirdly enough, they have some kind of good pastries.
Okay.
You know what I'm always shocked about is like BCIT isn't actually a bad place for food. It's just everything is so inconvenient. Because anyone, I do agree, it is probably one of the best places, but you have to fight with the idea. Or do you want to get this good burger? But you also have to like walk across campus and then walk back, which compared to UBC isn't bad. Like I think people have had to actually take a bus to get to their next class.
Oh my god.
It's a fucking town.
Yeah,
it's
like
crazy.
a whole goddamn unceded territory.
I know.
Yeah.
At this point, fuck. But yeah, like at least it's not UBC, but it is annoying as all hell.
It's like most of the things at BCIT. It's just kind of annoying.
Yeah.
It's annoying that I have to walk from the south side to the north campus. What the hell is this? It's annoying.
Exactly.
That the burger that's closer to me isn't as tasty as the burger that's further from me. It's annoying. I think that sums up the whole experience.
I have a question for you.
Go for it.
Yeah. You mentioned in class, I think. I don't even remember if it was this week because everything blends together. But you mentioned you snowboarded a little bit?
Yes.
What?
Not very well.
That's okay. But, like, how'd you get into that?
I just, my dad is, like, a real big, I'll say extreme sports guy. Like, he used to do, well, still technically does, but, like, BMXing and snowboarding and did a little bit of skateboarding and whatnot. So that's just his kind of environment that he liked to be in. And then he kind of forced me then to also enjoy snowboarding and skateboarding and BMXing. And, like, it's okay. I don't know. The problem is I'm too much of a fucking nerd. So, like, I just spent all my time as a kid just, like, playing, like, Sonic 2 on, like, his Sega Genesis.
Yeah.
And that was it. That's pretty much how I spent my time. So, like, going snowboarding and whatnot.
Yeah.
I still like it, and I'm not very good at it. I just don't have this, like, I don't have the cardio. I don't have, like, the body strength. Turning is weird.
Yeah.
There's this weird thing that, like, as you, like, turn, you're constantly going from facing up the mountain to facing down the mountain. You're constantly having to go back and forth. And there's a certain point when you turn that you're putting your full body kind of into the turn. You're using kind of your hips to kind of like guide you. But as you're doing it, you have to completely let go.
Oh.
For a second. Like you have to let go of like how much you weigh.
Oh.
In the turn. So you can just you breathe for like a second to go and do the turn, but because you just have to you have to let your body just like 180 essentially turn around. I would stand up just to like show Tvisha here, but I'm not gonna do that because then there's no video and the audio's gonna sound terrible. But yeah, because you're like going down and then you have to like turn. Like it's hard to even do with my hand.
Yeah.
You're going around and then you turn. So this front part of the board is making the full turn around. So at a certain point you have to let go. You have to, when you're facing down the mountain, you have to let go and then turn yourself around. And then as you come back around, you have to let go and turn yourself back around.
That's crazy.
It is. It was insane. It was like, and I like, 2022 was when I went up with some of my buddies to go snowboarding, and it was bad. I slipped on some ice a couple of days beforehand and landed right on my tailbone, so my tailbone was like in pain. I think it was like Christmas Eve as well too, because I just I was like on my way to work and then I slipped and I was like, fuck, I just slipped on ice on Christmas Eve, the busiest day of the year. I'm gonna kill myself.
Oh. And
then 2-3 days later, I went up with my buddies to go snowboarding, and then just landing on my ass a couple times, just with my tailbone still like bruised. I was like, I can't do this. I can't get down the mountain because I don't have the strength in me because I'm just like in too much like pain.
Yeah.
Which is kind of lame. But then the second I went up like a couple months later, like with my dad. Because he was kind of surprised that I went snowboarding with my buddies, and he was like, "Shit, I want to go snowboarding too." So me and my dad went up, and that's when I was able to start doing like the full turns and everything. That I realized that it was weird.
Yeah.
That you have to let go, And that like felt like a weird like eye-opening thing about me and
Yeah.
myself almost. That in a way the only way I can get over my challenges is if I learn to let go of things and let myself be weightless and whatnot. I'm like, that's too real for snowboarding, man. I wasn't expecting to learn a life lesson today.
You find the realest. You know what I fucking hate about life is that you find the realest moments, the craziest. Holy shit! Actually, my life makes a little bit more sense because I found a piece of the puzzle in the most mundane, stupidest things. Like, god damn it! Like, yeah, sure, I could be reading a book and I could find the meaning of life in that, but no. Oftentimes, I find the meaning of life when I have a moment and I'm like, I think one time I was like cutting something up and I was just, I had to take it out and I had to do the thing. I had to make sure my thing was clean, and I had this moment where there was just like one stain, and no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't get it out. And I realized later, like, it was just part of it. It was just a part of the counter, and I had a moment where I was like, there's a stain on this perfectly white counter, and then I was like, isn't that just like everybody though? There's just you're a amalgam of stains throughout your entire life, and that is what you look like. And yeah, sure, the granite is still there, and it's the thing that looks the most. But there's like every once in a while you look at like this random stain on this random counter, and you're like, damn, that's a part of me.
I want to talk about the resurgence of Gravity Falls real quick, because my first introduction to the series was way back when. It must have been like 2012 or whenever the series came out, but they had a teaser for the show where it was like a VHS camera pointed towards the door, and they weren't sure what was behind it. It was like one side you hear Dipper, the other side you hear Mabel, and they're talking about the door.
God.
And that was my introduction to that show.
That was my introduction. I watched that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, like, that instantly, like, hooked me, like, immediately right away. I think that was great setup. And then when the pilot came out, like, I think it was, like, the next day or something. Like, that was also, like, incredible.
Crazy good.
I do think that Gravity Falls kickstarted something in a way that maybe shows like Steven Universe kind of piggybacked off.
Yeah.
And because right around, I think both of those shows were coming out right at the same time, so debatable of what inspired what. But I think taking something that was mainly designed to be episodic and then serializing it is something that Steven Universe did to great effect later on, as they laid a lot of stuff in the original couple episodes. And then as they went on, they'd make callbacks to those original episodes. They realized what they could do with them. They ended up making a whole entire movie. But Gravity Falls only ever really got the 2 seasons and a couple of the books. Which is, of course, why it's back in the promination that it is.
God, I could talk about, like, I could actually write an entire essay on Gravity Falls. The thing is, and a lot of people actually, I'm going to clarify this right now, Gravity Falls was not canceled. A lot of people think that Gravity Falls was canceled, that apparently there was a secret, like, 3rd season. There was never a secret 3rd season. Alex Hirsch was like, this is what I want to do with the show. Now I am done. And he is not done, because he keeps releasing books.
Right, yeah.
Right? Which annoys the hell out of me, because I'm like, give me more! But no, I know exactly what you mean. And I think, no, I completely agree with you on the fact that, like, because we have Amphibia, we have the Owl House, we have Steven Universe.
And Owl House, from Dana Terrence, is married to Alex. Like, you know what I mean?
Did they not break up?
Okay, maybe Okay, maybe they were not. At any rate, though, they were in a relationship at one point, and but then also the ties that those 2 shows also even just have together.
Absolutely,
you can see that Gravity Falls has meant more. Yeah.
No, absolutely. Like, and you, especially with Owl House, you can see the influence that Gravity Falls, or at least the creator, has had on it, and I love it. I love it so much. I wish more shows, especially, I've discovered that I almost don't like live action anymore. I used to watch so much live action when I was a kid. I almost couldn't stand animation, and now that I've grown up, I've slowly started understanding that no, actually, it's animation, because I guess with animation you can do so much more. You can have a story. It's a little less difficult to put things in play. But even just with character writing, man, with live action, it never feels, it's almost,
like they want to subvert things in a way, but because live action is almost so commonplace, that you can see subversions coming from a mile away.
Yeah.
And especially too when you come to portrayal of characters, I think as well, you technically are less diverse with live action because there can really only be so many. Like, you can't exaggerate often, you know what I mean? Like, if you
Yes.
look at the character design of, like, Grunkle Stan,
Yeah.
that's not, like, an average person that you're gonna find. Sure, it might be easy to find, like, a white guy with glasses who's maybe got a little bit of stubble or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think that actual sort of, like, just character design and body type, or, like, Seuss,
Mm-hmm.
like, he's got a very defined
Like,
silhouette around him. Or, like,
yeah.
Robbie, he's with his
Mhm.
nose, he's got that very defined look
Yeah.
to him. That you can't get those in live
No.
action. So what they try to do is they try to make things grown up
Mm-hmm.
and real, when they end up feeling more childish than the things that they're
Yeah.
trying to subvert.
I think honestly, live action would be so like we were watching a clip of Friends and we were talking about The Office. There's so many things with live action that I feel like they don't do, which is they don't overdefine what the character is meant to be, and then take that overdefined version and slowly make them more real. They kind of just try to be like, this is a real human being. Anyway, and okay, yeah, but I don't find any interest in a real human being. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here for escapism. I'm giving you, it's like what Barenbaum was saying. I'm giving you my time of day because I need to relax. I want to be entertained for like the little moments that I have to relax, and you're giving me just some people having, kind of a shitty day. Lorelai was so over exaggerated from from Gilmore Girls.
Okay.
From Gilmore Girls. Oh my god, if I got that wrong, I'd be humiliated. I mean, I know it's a podcast and you will edit this. I will make you edit anything out. But
I'm probably gonna leave this whole segment in just because it's good to kind of hear you ponder over who Lorelai is. But like Lorelai from Gilmore Girls.
Yeah. I think Lorelai from Gilmore Girls was like, a lot of people now are like, she just had ADHD, but like back then, I don't know when the show came out actually, but I always go to my phone to be like, maybe I can check it out. And I'm like, no, no, but like back then, I don't think people would have been so quick to be like, she has ADHD. It would have just been, Lorelai is a cool, like quirky, kind of fun, wacky character. And then as it kind of kept going on, you could see how even though there was like so many comedy bits and humorous times you could have with that character, suddenly she held the same like quirkiness and the weirdness and the character essence when she was upset. And sometimes those are my favorite clips to watch, like back on, because she's still talking really frantically and her hands are everywhere and she's still saying like three different scenarios that don't exist, but now they're all sad and they have to pertain to her actual life. And you're like, wait, no, this character, she's real, she exists, and she has her own problems, and yeah, she's funny and great and awesome, but she's also like all over the place, and sometimes the thing that makes her funny isn't the thing that is the best and happiest thing about her, if that makes sense. I don't know, I rarely make sense.
The show also debuted it ran from 2000 to 2007.
Ooh.
I thought I'd just quickly clarify to answer that question for anyone who didn't go to IMDb when Tvisha was wondering about that. What do you think about limited series though? Because that seems to be a very popular thing. Just a lot of like media is going towards.
I think it's dumb. I think it's stupid. I understand why, because our attention spans are getting worse. But I think no. Let me learn about these characters and let me like. Gravity Falls did something crazy, and it was that I somehow got to know multiple different characters, but like not even just like I got to know the background cast. I got to know the mayor, and he went from the guy who just said get him anytime there was a fight around, to this person who had emotions, because I think we do see him cry. It's just a random like, hey, let's take this off to the side thing, but there's these two cops, Sheriff Blubbs and fuck, I don't even remember the second one's name. But they are very clearly in love, and we all know they're in love. And it's just random, like, shots of these two incompetent police officers clearly desperately in love because they compliment each other all the time and are very loving towards each other. And are, besties, finger quotes included. And you fall in love with them, and they have so little screen time, but fucking hell, you learn to love them. And god damn it, that's hard to do. I can't imagine how Alex Hirsch did it, but it's like sometimes in the background, giving them 5 seconds of screen time in the range of like 2 seasons, right? And oh my god, I loved it so much. But no other show, I think, will ever be able to do that. If I ever find one again, I'm going to fall in love with it because I love getting to know a world. Gravity Falls is, again, one of the only like shows that I think could truly capture such like, 2 seasons and then done, and everyone's like, I understand why it's done, but I need more, right? A lot of them are ending season 1. And then they get canceled because they didn't get enough views. But, like, that's because streaming. Because of the streaming platforms now, you have to give your audience enough time to watch it, right? People don't seem to understand, like, at least executives don't seem to understand. They're not marketing their movie. They're expecting other people to market it for them now. Like, everywhere you see on social media, it's other people marketing shows or the cast members marketing the shows, but it's like in fun, goofy little ways. And that is going to take longer than, when people only had really their TV for entertainment, and that's like when the ads came on, you had to watch the ads, and so yeah, you would get invested by like this really cool teaser trailer like Gravity Falls did, where they had like that teaser trailer is genuinely one of the best of all times. It's so mysterious, it has so much intrigue, and yeah, so you immediately go, oh shit, I want to watch this. But now on a streaming platform, I hate to say this, but I think Gravity Falls would have had a chance to be canceled if it was ever released like now. Mm-hmm. Because realistically, I think it would have taken at least a month. Like the idea of it. How do you explain the idea of Gravity Falls? These twins go to their uncle's shack in the woods and they encounter paranormal stuff, right? I love it, don't get me wrong, but that's because I know what it is. If I was just given that, I'd be like, oh, that's cool, and I probably wouldn't watch it until like 2 years later. But because I had that amazing teaser trailer that I was forced to watch, I was watching all my other shows, and then it came on, and I was like, shit, that's fucking cool. I was like hooked, hook, line, and sinker. And so I think that would have immediately gotten canceled. And Doctor Who is only going so strong because, it has gone on for so long. People know it's a good idea. So execs aren't going to be like, let's cancel it. No, it's a moneymaker. It's a moneymaker. And it's crazy to me that people are constantly being like, back to the whole, like, thing. It's like executives aren't giving enough time for their series that they have put so much money in to grow and expand and have that fan base. And then the moment that they've probably decided, oh, this has to be canceled, we're not going to give this another green light, after maybe probably 2 weeks of it being aired, and then after week 3 everyone's like, oh my god, wait a second, you guys have to watch. Something that I like comes to mind, it's this queer show called The Pink Ladies. Not a queer show, just a feminist show. It's like it was a prequel to the Greasers musical. If you know it.
Yeah, the Grease.
Grease?
As in the movie Grease with
Greasers was
in
Outsiders.
In the 1970s,
yeah,
there was a movie that came out
called Grease.
And they had a group of characters called the Pink Ladies, and then studio executives decided that'd be a good idea for a TV show.
the prequel, how that came to
How
be.
the Pink Ladies formed, and how the one Pink Lady really wants to go to beauty school,
Mm-hmm.
and then she doesn't. That was like the main thing I remember from because we watched Grease in band class one time.
Yeah.
That and Grease Lightning, the song. Grease Lightning is a good song.
Great Lightning is such a good song.
But this prequel show, the Pink Ladies.
It's a feminist. It's very it does not make sense for its time, I don't think. I think it's a bunch of women being like, we're going to fight the norms and fuck all of you, literally. And it doesn't make sense for the time it's set in. Fuck no. This makes women were, I think, horribly oppressed when this show was set, and it
in the 50s.
The 50s.
I'm like 95% sure.
I'm pretty sure it's in the 50s. I don't remember. I watched this show. It's like a musical TV show, right? It gained a crazy. We don't have to get into the Pink Ladies. I could talk about it, but we don't have to get into it. But it gained an insane audience. After I want to say 3 maybe a month, 3 weeks, maybe a month. And, everyone was like, holy shit, the songs are catchy. The choreography is so fun. I love all the characters. And I would genuinely bet so much money that even before, and, there was a queer character involved and there was an actual relationship going on. So 100% I believe that studio execs had, being like, oh, it's probably not going to do well. We probably should end it here. Also, just, the fact that because there's a queer character, that probably the fact that they were like, oh, fuck, we can't market this to places like China. That's less money for us. We don't really want to spend more money on something that'll make us, yes, a shit ton of money, but also not as much money as we could,
The money that's going to go into the pre-production, production, and the post-production to create the show that is maybe only for a certain audience. Which is weird, because that's how TV worked for years.
Yeah.
I think there definitely has been a problem with streaming when it just comes to the fact that we are trying to make everything for everyone. Sure, there's a lot of niche stuff that can get put onto streaming. Like, it can happen. And sure, there's a lot of international stuff that can also get onto streaming and be popular and grow an audience. Like, I hate to be so obvious, but like Squid Games.
Yeah.
Like, that's probably the most obvious example of that. To a larger point, if you want to go into film, Parasite. Like, that's another international film that just did extremely well.
Crazy well.
All things considered, and won an award. But I think we've lost that niche in the Americanization of so much in the world and how much attention America drew upon itself.
Yeah.
We lost the idea that, like, cultures have their own entertainment. Cultures want to watch their own things and their own stuff. So, yes, the Pink Ladies may not work for, like, a mainstream sort of conservative audience. That doesn't mean there's nobody.
Exactly.
There's 7 billion plus people on this planet. If you can't market something to maybe even about 20,000 people, if you can make something that 20,000 people really enjoy and want to support, they can still make you money.
Yeah.
I think that is a big problem with a lot of the studios and whatnot. And something that I try to think about, too, when I come think of, like, pitches and ideas, is that I just think about the financial part of it that would have to go into it and how easy it would be for them to just kind of say no.
Yeah.
When it's, like, a little bullshit.
Yeah, exactly.
To it. It's, like, you just want more money. And in a creative field, that's kind of a bad thing to have, this pursuit of the dollar. When it's, like, that's not what at all... what this
it's
was
not
about.
What we're doing here. Like, the amount of times I think all of our teachers have told us, if you are here for the money, you are in the wrong industry. And that's, I think, what slowly, because of streaming, there's been a weird blurred line that has let a lot of the people with the money take advantage of. Because, back when there were actual... And ads are coming back, I think, half of it because of that. Because, ads paid all of... the studio execs can't pay them. But the ads, because, this TV show ad would essentially, like, people would pay the TV show ad to get put in a specific place. So, you'd come to their channel, And now that streaming's gone, and streaming's gone all fucking mainstream, and you can just fucking go to Hulu or fucking Netflix and you can choose it.
Or Needis Plus,
Yeah, exactly. You can, Sorry, that was actually
It's a good
so
callback.
funny.
Good
That was
callback.
really cool. Like, oh my god. Sorry. I like sometimes you do this. I have a delayed reaction, but I'm like, fuck, that was hilarious. Maybe I'm also just easily impressed. I know I am.
One of the two.
Yeah, no, one of the two. Anyway, like, there's just so many fucking streaming platforms, and yeah, they buy them, but they keep them on for essentially as long as they can. The entire actor strike, I believe, was because they were not getting paid correctly because of streaming.
Exactly. They weren't getting the proper residuals that they would have gotten through
Yeah.
normal TV broadcasts, which is another way for companies to then make more money. Like, that's the problem overall, is that it turns into a money thing.
Yeah.
Because, oh yeah, we're not broadcasting, we're streaming. We don't need to meet FCC compliance. We don't have to do that, or the Canadian version that we have up in here. We're not being broadcast that anybody with a TV can just in a satellite box can like pick up, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And I think true too, like when you see like stuff with like Netflix having like an ad version and whatnot, you're like, we've regressed.
Yeah.
We've gone back.
Exactly.
We've retreated from what was possible, was so bold. I was just talking about this the other day, but I miss rental stores. I miss rental stores so much. If only because of that experience of going in, finding something, and then bringing it home and watching it, and not really knowing kind of what to get out of it. I'm sure that a lot of people found new movies this way, new TV shows this way. The movie they wanted to watch wasn't in stock, so they had to watch something else.
Yeah.
And now that's their favorite film of all time. That is like completely gone. That whole experience.
Yeah.
That whole human connection part of it. And we decided streaming was better.
Yeah.
We decided that having the instant access to a limited library, you don't get everything.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't even have the same selection you would have in a video rental store.
Yeah.
Because a video rental store could have Warner Brothers and Disney and Sony and Universal and a bunch of different companies on it. When now it's all the streaming stuff is a per company basis. So if you really wanted to watch Warner Brothers, you're gonna have to get Max. I was going to call it HBO Max, but it's not even that. And all the fucking streaming companies keep on changing their names too. So it makes any kind of naming convention impossible because you keep on changing the brand of it. At least with the TV station, it was the same number.
Yeah.
You know what? Like, sure that maybe now the comedy channel is now the Space Channel or whatever. It's the same number on my TV though. Like, I can still get onto it and then just go watch something else. Then it gives you. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I miss it. I really do think, I'm glad that cable, I'm not glad that cable's coming back. I'm upset that cable isn't coming back in the form it already kind of exists in.
Yeah.
I love the radio idea of cable TV, where you put on a station, it just plays.
Yeah.
You can do other things. You don't have to choose something. You're not getting into that choice of like, how do I want to spend my time?
Yeah.
Even channel surfing. I didn't mind channel surfing a lot as a kid. I think about that too. That like so much of my like experience growing up was like based around the TV and like going to the bathroom breaks on like ad breaks and whatnot, and like like so much was focused around that. It just feels weird to not have it.
Yeah.
To not have cable. This thing that I thought was gonna like define me for the rest of my life was the cable channels is like something I don't worry about anymore.
Yeah.
Like I miss it. I really do.
I completely understand it because I miss cable too. Don't get me wrong, I love the idea of just picking up a show and just watching it. Like, it's easy access and all of that shit. But like also, I miss like, I miss needing to like plan out my day and be like, oh my god, wait a second, if I don't come home at this time, oh my god, if I don't like pick up the TV remote and watch like at this specific time, I'm gonna miss my favorite show. And that I also think was a great way to make people watch shows. Like, we're going through all of this like thing where it's like, you know, the actors they didn't get paid and all of this, and you know, ad revenue and stuff.
It's just people watching them over a weekend and then never picking it up again.
Exactly. Well, also there's that. You're not like, I think a lot of executive producers are like, or just like the people in charge. The people in charge are expecting that, okay, we should see the exact same kind of thing we saw from you know, what do you got from cable? You know, a lot of the people in charge are expecting the things that they like, the numbers and all of the shit that you expected from cable, but that's not gonna happen. That's not. You are releasing all of the episodes in one consecutive sitting, and then they probably go through the week and go, how popular are we? But I'm sorry, any adult person, and this show, and even teenagers now, they don't have the time to sit down and just binge a show multiple times. You do it over either like a couple of weeks or like whatever. Don't get me wrong, I binge shows, and that's another thing. It's like I binge shows, but when I binge a show, I watch it once to the fullest extent, and then I'm done. I don't need to do it anymore. And just for the God's sake, like, either people are watching it like periodically throughout the week, or they're binging it one time and then that's done, right? And so no matter what, you're probably gonna look like you are losing some money, because if after a month there's like a huge spike at the very beginning and then a huge drop at the end, you might have a huge fan base, but that's not what the numbers show. And again, if there's the couple people who are like watching it here and there, then it's not gonna remain consistent. They're gonna be like they're tiny little bots on like I'm like, it's just like it's just not sustainable for, like, it doesn't show you how big your audience is, right? Like, I truly, genuinely just don't believe that's a good, accurate way. I don't remember which show did it. There was this one show, like, in the past couple of years that actually did this thing, and it was crazy. I think it was WandaVision, if anything. But it was this, they would release weekly.
Yeah, that started off with The Mandalorian. That was the thing with Disney Plus, and that really did. I know we were going to talk about that. It generated the excitement for it, because every week we were wondering what would happen next.
Yeah, exactly.
And with WandaVision specifically, there was the whole mystery aspect. There was questions that weren't being answered.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stylistic things they chose to really engage the audience.
Yeah.
I do think that the weekly idea is a good idea, just because it does tide your audience over. And I think in the modern world too, we're having 2 years in between each season. Maybe that's even why we're having 2 years in between, is for an audience to develop. So then when a second season does come out, you don't have that committed fan base that is waiting for that second season.
Yeah. It just doesn't usually pan out, because you will if you drop all your episodes in one go, you will lose your audience faster because they're waiting for 2 seasons and they're like, okay, well, I have a entire life outside of this. And, we saw with WandaVision, or at least I did, because that's the one that I watched weekly. We saw with WandaVision that everything kept going, like, you had a committed, I would go on my Instagram, my TikToks, and I would see fan theories, and I would engage with the fan theories. I'd be like, oh my god, wait, this makes so much sense. And like, it was so fun to be part of that culture again, because it had been so long, especially because everyone was just kind of dropping all of their shows, all of their episodes in one go, and then being like, have at it. And this felt more of like, so many people were giving me an all-you-can-eat buffet, and then this was, like, WandaVision was a meal I could, like, eat, and I could take my time with, and I could appreciate,
And you'd come back next week, and maybe you'd have the same meal, but it's prepped a little differently.
Yeah.
In a slightly different way that you're like, I'm also enjoying this.
Yeah, exactly.
I think there's also a thing, too, where it's like, you're not going to get new subscriptions from somebody who's already subscribed. So with these shows that are coming out and releasing, they're trying to entice people to come onto the platform. It's not like the days of cable where you had, like, basically your cable box and then all the channels were there, and then you paid for your channels based on what your preference was for sports or movies or news or whatever. But that's still in the box. And then you're paying the cable company, the cable company's paying the networks, and then you're getting money from ads, and they're paying out all their people.
Yeah.
But there was this kind of just thing that existed with the network, but now with streaming, it's just, you're kind of locked in. I think that's why too, like, Netflix was, like, talking years ago about, like, adding ads and whatnot, because they realized they were hitting a cap on their subscribers, and that the people that weren't subscribing to Netflix were people who didn't want to pay for it. So the only way to get them into your platform is by running ads and by reducing the price, and that would get the people to come in and hopefully make a little bit more money. But now that everybody's so spread thin when it comes to all the different streaming services, and the fact that streaming services still don't have everything, They take things off. They don't put them up. Shows get
Yes.
written off for tax reasons.
Oh.
There's like a thing with like Infinity Train that
Oh.
you literally cannot watch that anywhere. It is not available. The lead creator is saying to pirate the show. Like,
Yeah.
we're getting to a point when it comes to media and content that we're treating it so sparingly. We're treating
Yeah.
it so throwaway. We're not
Yeah.
allowing the people to actually enjoy something. It's that, once again, that pursuit of profits that I think is affecting kind of the creativity as a
Goddamn
whole.
fucking money.
Exactly. The biggest threat and the biggest positive for any creativeness
Yeah.
is money.
Yeah. No. I truly, genuinely, I don't know when we decided to let money make the world go round, the fucking fur trade or whatever. Like after the fur trade, and they were
No,
like,
it was the Industrial Revolution.
right. Of
If
course.
you ask the Unabomber, the Industrial Revolution and its consequences have been
Yeah.
a disaster for humanity.
Yeah.
With that note, I think we should end the podcast here. I want to thank Tvisha
Oh hey.
for coming on the podcast and being my guest today on the
Yeah.
third episode
Woo.
of the second year one podcast. I want to thank the audience for listening in on another episode, and I want you to have a good rest of the day, wherever that might be. Thank you so much.